It is a cold day in Canada. We're in a part of Saskatchewan, filming the show, the Everyday Compassion Movement, Home for Christmas. Going to the Lighthouse now to work with some of the homeless. Right, T-Block?
Good.
There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul.
Trying to find parking. I just don't want to run somebody over. That's not a compassionate act. So a friend of mine called me and said, you know, you should go over and take a look at this organization that helps the homeless called the Lighthouse. And the Lighthouse helps with people who are homeless and on the street and they're addicted to drugs and going through alcoholic problems, and they bring them in and they house them, and they have temporary housing and they have long-term housing. And the government in Saskatchewan just cut some of their funding for certain beds to bring the homeless in, and so now they don't have anywhere to go. They're able to run some beds at the nighttime, but recently a donor stepped up and decided to give them some money to help them out, which was a great, thing for them to do. That's the problem with governments and certain businesses still. They operate with numbers. What's my bottom line? How do we make profit? How do we, save money? But they don't run with compassion. And that's where we've got to change, right from the top up to stream it down. How long has this been established and been here then?
It started in '92.
Yeah.
And they got the building, the old Empire Hotel.
Okay, yeah.
Was donated in '97.
I was talking to he was a Catholic gentleman. He just took me out for lunch and said, just tell me your story.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he said, let me go home and pray about it. And the next day he came back and he said, I think you should call it the Lighthouse. There's 68 rooms.
68?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's a lot of rooms.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it's that big. Well, when I looked at it, I was like, this is a big place.
Yeah.
It's like a hotel.
It was a hotel,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It
what
it was the hotel in Saskatoon, like before the Besborough was built.
Was it really?
It was the place to be, yeah.
This is the stabilization unit, and this is where any of our clients that are under the influence of alcohol or drugs would stay in here.
Okay.
So it's kind of perfect now with the new setup, because they can come in the back door.
Okay.
There's less issues
Yeah.
at the front with intox clients, with our sober clients.
Okay.
So they come in the back door, they get 3 meals a day, they have a warm, safe place to sleep, and then we can connect them with, we have an addictions counselor,
Okay.
different case managers. If it's maybe just a housing issue, sometimes people just drink and use
Yeah.
to have a safe place to sleep
Yeah.
because they can't find housing in the community.
Okay.
And so we can connect them with different resources and supports that they need.
So they're on the street and then they come to us and say, I have nowhere to go. What do I do? And they may have food money, but they also have an addiction that comes first.
So when people are struggling with addiction, there's a lot of things that go along with it. It's not just that I woke up one day and decided to use meth every day because I was bored, right? There's underlying circumstances, there's a past history of, there's generational, there's so many things that we don't know about. So for me, I feel like we're supposed to just be meeting people where they're at. And so, like, for example, when they come in every single day, we're not to be pushing our beliefs and opinions on them. If they want to go to treatment, then we support and encourage that. If they don't want to go to treatment, we support and encourage that. So once the women are done their intake, they come in here, and this is the women's shelter. So I don't know where the light switch is, which is kind of unfortunate, but actually I think it's inside. So anyway, this is the women, and then they have their own washroom, toilet, sink, shower. So obviously we don't want the men and women sleeping in the same room, right?
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah,
when we're under the influence, we're maybe not making the best choices, and
and
there has been, and it's sort of awkward, so we don't want that. We don't encourage.
You get into a habit of just coming here for that.
Which is weird, and some, exactly. Here, Tara, come here, come stand by me.
How lucky is that?
It's a camera, but you have to say nice words. You can't say swear words right now. Huh?
We can edit.
That's his favorite saying.
Is it? What's that?
He hates to be a bother. He really does.
Really? I like that saying. I mean, it just takes one thing, and your whole life is different. You know, and that's where I think that it's trying to work to get everybody to come together in society and have compassion for all humanity, and understand that, you know, you're just blessed right now because you're like here. Like I always say this, when you're kind of like, when you're feeling good and you're healthy and your life is going good, that's when I always say you really should step up and do a lot more. Because there's going to be a time where, no matter where you're down, whether it's you lose your job or whether you get cancer, you lose a loved one, there's always going to be something that's going to happen, you know. And
I think that's one of the values of Actions of Compassion, like your movement that you're doing, is that you're giving people a glimpse into different lives and walking in other people's shoes for a minute or two to understand what other people are experiencing. I think that's one of the most powerful things we can be doing to encourage this compassion, is be sharing these stories and letting people see them for themselves and actually experience it in a very compelling way.
Are you patiently waiting? You're such a good waiter, hey? I'm coming, Terry. I'm gonna go get my coat.
I may walk with you.
Are you gonna, okay. Are you gonna behave though?
Yes.
Are you gonna walk out this way and start doing all your growling and stuff?
No.
Do I have to be like a parent? And your eye's still red. That tells me one thing.
What?
You're not taking care of it.
I don't give a shit.
I didn't give a shit. Start.
I am the volunteer coordinator here, and then I run this community kitchen. So this is a free supper meal that's just open to anyone in the community every Monday and Friday. So we just open our doors at 5:30 and anyone can come in from the community to have a meal. So if a group wants to provide food for the meal, they can, or if they want to come cook in our kitchen for the meal and then volunteer and serve, they can do that.
She's got
So, hey. So people come in this way, and usually if it's quite busy, there's a lineup here. Tonight, I'm not expecting it to be overly busy. It's about 100 or 80 on a busy night. I think tonight I'm expecting about 70 or 60. So we have an outreach team. They drive around for 12 hours every day.
We get here in the morning and we check to see if there's any appointments. People that need to go to their medicals is our first priority. Then we go out and see if there's any calls that need to be like out in the community. During the evenings, it's mostly calls from people who may be intoxicated in the community. So we have CSOs out there, community support officers, that connect with us, and they tell us if somebody is on the streets and needs to be picked up.
Cool. They are comfortable. I think it's almost as comfortable as my bed.
Complex needs is it's meant for people who have a dual diagnosis or comorbid conditions or two diagnoses really. So they have to have a mental health disorder, and generally most of our people have an existing addiction also. So we're dealing with two different things. So what we do is provide a one-year program where they can stay here for a year or so, depending on when they're ready to leave. And we try to help stabilize them through med management, through housing stability, through different things that we can do, hook them up to community resources, help them with their mental health nurse, making the appointments, make sure they get their injections.
People don't understand mental health and addiction, right? So if we just put a curtain up and pretend that none of this is happening, then we're all good, right? We don't have to deal with anything. We don't have to come up with a solution or anything, because we just put our curtain up and it doesn't happen. But then you have people that are diabetic, you have people with cancer, you have people with, those are all diseases, but there's tons of support and awareness. But then you have alcohol and drugs and mental health, and there isn't, because that's something wrong with you then, right? When it's not something wrong with you. It's a disease, just like nobody woke up and wanted to be diabetic. Nobody woke up and wanted to be an alcoholic. I can guarantee you can ask every single one of our clients in any state of sobriety or not, and not one of them has chosen this life.
So what we're going to do, January 2nd, we're going to start opening the doors for the 24 hours, and we've got funding that we can go over the winter months.
Okay.
And
that was from an anonymous donor, right?
Yeah.
That helped?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is awesome.
It's a big compassionate act right there to step up.
Absolutely. It was one of those moments where you hold back the tears, you know?
True, 100%, man. That shows the good in humanity right there. Comes out,
What we are is we're not a medical detox.
Okay.
So we're just like a 24-hour, you can come in, sleep it off kind of thing. I think Saskatoon needs more places like transitional housing or sober living, because we don't want to be filling up places just with people with addictions and no say support or help at the end, right?
They're people, right?
Yeah.
And I think remembering that first is that no matter what is the issue, you're still a person, you're somebody's mother, brother, sister, and you still love them.
It doesn't matter like where you come from, how much money you have, who your parents are, the area of the city you live in, or what color you are. We never know what could happen. And at any time, that could be one of us. And when they're sitting on a bench and they're screaming and they're whatever, why don't you say hi? Like, strike up a conversation. They're not these evil, terrifying, violent people.
That's right.
They're people. And maybe they're screaming because they want someone to hear them. We need to get back to seeing people for people and not a problem.
We just left the Lighthouse and we walked across the street to a location that goes back many years for me. It's actually a hotel we're at right now called the Sheraton Cavalier, a hotel that I actually used to clean. I used to clean these floors right below that I'm standing on right now with a dream to do what I'm doing, exactly what I do today. And I used to actually vacuum the floors because I asked for that job, and I asked if I could specifically wear my headset so I could actually listen to things like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, all the motivational speakers. I was like, go ahead, no problem. That's probably the vacuum that I used to use right there. Yeah, I bet you that's it. Get a shot of that vacuum. That's what I used to use. I was not quite sure exactly how it was all going to pan out, what kind of business I was going to do, but I knew it was going to do some kind of business. I knew we were going to change the world in some way. I knew I was going to leave a legacy somehow, and that goes back so many years. So the moral of the story is right now, if you go to dream and you go to goal, this is where it started for me, before, just that dream. So make sure that you keep pushing for that dream. It doesn't matter where you are right now and what you've come from, you can get there.